Hi everybody. Today is the 18th of September. It means it's a day 122. We have kind of stretched out over the trail. So what happened was Swish still hasn't caught up with us. In the last video I mentioned that College had a issue with his bag breaking, so he ended up falling behind us. So Bear, Dan, and I have been kind of pushing ahead on our own, hoping that College would catch up. The last 3 days we went from Andover to Stratton, or Andover to Stratton, and we're in Stratton right now. We're actually going to zero today. Bear came down with a cold, and then this morning, or last night and yesterday, Dan and I think started getting it as well. So we're going to sit here for the day and rest. College is going to get here today at some point, and we're going to move on. I'm still looking for a trekking pole, but other than that, things are going pretty good. We were able to get our mileage higher while still crushing some pretty intense peaks. We've gone over all but the Bigelows at this point in Maine, and once we get over the Bigelows, which is going to be the first thing tomorrow, it flattens out. We'll be able to make some really good time through the rest of Maine, and hopefully make up, well, probably won't make up too much time, but we've planned out all the way through to Katahdin. And before the zero today, we were going to summit on the 27th. Now we're going to summit on the 28th, unless we make up a day in the 100-mile wilderness or before, which I doubt we will, because we already had like a 33 planned in there and some mid-20s. So depending on shelter spacing, I doubt that there's going to be an opportunity to finish on the 27th. But 28th was the goal from the beginning, and this is why we were pushing so hard in Pennsylvania, so that when and if stuff like this happened, we wouldn't be in a situation where we were behind where we wanted to be, where we needed to be. Especially because at this point, Dan and Bear have already booked their return flights, and I'm going to probably book my train ticket now for today to get that all squared away, so I can make sure I've got a seat and a decent price for it. But things are going well otherwise. Maine continues to be a big challenge, a lot of steep rocky climbs, but like it better than New Hampshire. The views up at top I think are nicer, in my opinion. A lot of mountains. The big difference is there's a lot of lakes, and I like the lakes. Well, they call them ponds here. They're ponds and brooks. They don't have any lakes or creeks or streams. They have ponds and brooks and rivers. Well, everyone has rivers, but regardless, I think it's prettier than the whites, personally. The whites are cool, big spires of granite, but I like the rolling-ish greens and the lakes and ponds that are in Maine better. Just personal preference. That's also why I kind of liked Vermont. It was greener, but to each their own. A lot of people like New Hampshire better. I'll probably do one more video before, or two more videos before Katahdin. So we'll be in Monson in like 3 or 4 days. That'll be our last stop before the 100-mile wilderness, and then I think we're going to go to Millinocket right after we get out of the 100-mile wilderness. And it'll be like 2 days to summit Katahdin from there. So that is kind of the plan. So the 28th, so 10 days from today, it's a Friday, will be our summit day. And hopefully Swish will be able to catch up by then. If anybody can put in 50s to catch up, it's him. But he was a lot sicker than the rest of us, so I don't know how many days he took off. I'm still looking for a trekking pole. Other than that, gear's holding together well. Got a couple holes in my bag from a Mahusik notch that I hope holds together. Oh, my shoes are falling apart. Less than 300 miles, maybe 300 miles from wherever, Killington. I forgot how far back that was, but like my left shoe is already exploded on the outside and it's about to explode on the inside. So I've got shoe goo from the market, and I'm just gonna glue the hell out of it because I'm not buying another pair of shoes with less than 200 miles to go. I think we've got 188.4 or 188.2 to go. And at this point, it's just a matter of like trying to get the gear that we have to make it across the finish line. It's not the right time to be buying more stuff. But, you know, it is what it is. If I need to buy something, I will, but it's gonna be a last resort. I'm really hoping to find a trekking pole and a hiker box somewhere around here, so I don't have to buy a new set. Well, I'm not gonna buy a new set. I'm just gonna finish with one, unless that breaks. Then I'll buy a new set. But I'm not too bad. I don't know if I have a cold, but like this sinus right here is definitely clogged up, and the classic like white, yellow, green mucus, which means an infection is happening. So I've got some Dayquil and NyQuil, and hopefully just be able to treat the symptoms, because it's likely a virus that I can't do anything about except ride out. Because you know what they say, you get after a cold, it'll last 7 days. You leave a cold alone, it'll last a week. So we'll just do what needs to be done to get across the finish line. It feels like more and more as I get towards the end, I'm ready to get off trail as opposed to wanting to stay. I like the lifestyle, and I was talking to Bear about this the other day. I feel like being on the trail is the most pure sense of freedom that I've ever experienced. Like there's no expectations. So many trucks on this road. We don't have any obligations, no responsibilities. Like the only thing we have to do is walk on the trail. Like today, we decided like an hour ago, we're not feeling good. The group's kind of spread out. Let's just sit here for a day and recover and totally call an audible. I picked a really bad spot to do this. But that's kind of what is great about being out here, is that freedom to make those types of choices, and just do whatever you want. I mean, our only obligation is to the trail to keep going, and it's something great. Like that's why I think a lot of people want to come out here, is because you taste that freedom that you don't get anywhere else. And we'll see how it goes out in the real world. But other than that, things are going all right. They're going well. Trail's gotten a lot better than it was in New Hampshire. You can actually get into a groove here and hike. I described it as I felt like I fell from Hanover to Gorham, just tripped over the rocks. I didn't really hike. Whereas in Maine, I feel like I'm actually hiking again. I feel like I'm trashing New Hampshire. I really didn't dislike it. It just wasn't what I was expecting or would have wanted from the trail in terms of the roughness of it. I think it was unnecessarily rough, but the views were incredible. Views are still great in Maine, not as high or as like spectacular, but we're starting like we are on the absolute cusp of these trees exploding into fall colors. Like most trees are starting to turn yellow. Like the birches are just starting. A couple of the maples are just starting to turn red. The blueberries are starting to turn red. It's going to be pretty epic soon. And there'll be a few more mountains that we can get some good views from. I think we're going to go over the Bigelows too early to get like those super high views. But there still are a couple mountains between here and Katahdin that we'll have to climb up. They're just not 4Ks. And other than that, things are going pretty good. So I should have another short video in about 4 days, and then another short video 4 days after that, and then the final video will be of Katahdin. I decided not to do a live stream. AT&T has terrible coverage up here, so there's no chance of getting signal up there, so I'm not going to even like get anyone's hopes up. Like, it's just not going to work out. I'm not going to have signal to live stream, so don't be sitting up at your computers waiting to see me hit the live button. I won't get signal to do it. And then I'll probably do one more video at the very end of a gear shakedown to see what I ended the trail with and what I sent home. I think that most people will be pretty surprised at how much stuff I sent home. I know I am surprised at how much I ended up sending home. But you really don't need all that much out here. You can survive off of very little. And that's what I've been trying to do. 2,000 miles yesterday. That was a good marker to hit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've been forgetting to mention. No, that's about it. And I've already been talking for 11 and a half minutes. So I will shut up and you guys enjoy the pictures and clips, and I will see you soon. Hi. Alright, so in my first video, I said I wasn't going to go into the privy, but you have to see this one. It's in Maine. On the outside it says "You are moved," and a little outhouse symbol, the half moon. So when you go inside, it's 2 seats with a cribbage board in between. I have no idea how to play cribbage, but you and a friend could play.